Thank you for tuning in to Macroview Television, and welcome to another brand new edition of the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Wu Ruiguo. We all know that recently the Overseas Compatriots Affairs Commission has held a cultural and heritage camp in Taiwan for the overseas Taiwanese youth. And on today's program, we're delighted to have three participants from the camp who are also Presidential Scholar recipients from the United States to be our special guests and talk about their experiences at the camp and also their general impressions of the island. Let me start off by introducing them. The first on my left is Miss Tiffany Hwang. Tiffany, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Tiffany Hwang. I'm 19 years old and I'm going to be a rising sophomore at the University of Pennsylvania studying biochemistry.
And next to Tiffany is Mr. Christopher Chen.
It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Chris. I'm 22. I just graduated from Harvard College with a degree in molecular biology, and I'll be starting medical school in a few weeks.
Okay, and last, certainly not least, is Miss Connie Wu.
Hi, I'm Connie, and I'm 19 years old. I'm going to be a rising sophomore studying chemical engineering at Yale College.
Okay, again, I want to welcome the three of you to our program, and certainly it's a delight to have you here. We all know, as I said at the beginning of the program, that you all here for a cultural and heritage camp that's being organized by the Overseas Compatriots Affairs Commission. Can you then first tell us a little bit about the camp and how did you get involved with it? Tiffany?
The camp is for outstanding youth from across the world.
Yes.
You apply, and if you're accepted, you get to round the island of Taiwan, even going to Penghu, so off the island even.
Okay.
And you get to see all these different cities in Taiwan that you might not have seen before, and we get to experience different cultures and different activities, and also meet great friends from other countries around the world.
Terrific. How big is the camp, Chris?
There are 28 participants, as well as 6 counselors.
Okay, and from how many different countries?
We come from 19 different countries, so it's a very diverse group.
How big is the U.S. contingent?
I want to say 5 or 6.
Okay.
So we're the biggest single country that's represented, but certainly not the majority by any means.
Okay. And Connie, I know this is not your first time in Taiwan. You come back almost on the annual basis.
Yeah.
How does the camp differ in terms of getting to know different aspects of the Taiwanese society, visiting different places, and also eating different foods even?
Well, usually, so every summer I've gone back to Taiwan to visit my grandparents in Taichung.
Okay.
So usually, since that's like usually the main purpose of my trip, so I feel like I don't get as much of a chance to explore Taiwan as much. And then this year, my experience has been completely different because I've been able to, at this camp, I've been able to explore lots of different places in Taiwan that I wouldn't have been able to explore usually. And I've been able to meet a lot of fellow overseas Taiwanese compatriots.
Good. And the length of the camp is about, what, 2 weeks?
That's correct.
Okay. And certainly from your brief introduction just now, that this is the first time in a while that you have the opportunity to examine Taiwan, to visit different places, meeting different people, and tasting different foods and things, in a more in-depth, analysis of the society. What was your general impression of Taiwan as compared to other trips you made in the past?
When I used to come to Taiwan, it was similar to Connie's experience. I'd be with my grandparents, with my family. Most of my time would be dedicated to visiting family or seeing my grandparents' house and within their neighborhood. But this time, I got to go to different cities, and I saw more than my family. I saw Taiwan's culture.
Okay, good.
So it was really an eye-opening experience to see Taiwan as a country and not just a place to stop by and visit family.
Good. And also, we were talking before the taping started that the camp itself is 2 weeks, and then you travel throughout the island. What were some of the favorite places that you visited, Chris?
Well, my very favorite place is still Taipei. I love the big city, and I love the vibrancy and the many people around and the many people you get to meet.
Yes.
But I also enjoyed, for example, visiting Turku National Park. I had never been to out to Taiwan's more sort of less populated areas, and it was really beautiful, and it was a great.
How about traveling to offshore islands like Pescador?
Yeah, that was also an adventure, to be sure, and really fun. We had the chance to visit a stone fish trap and learn about how they caught fish back in the day. I actually fell off. We were walking on the stone wall on the fish trap and actually fell off and I'm lucky I didn't break my head. And I'm happy to be here, alive and well.
Yeah.
But that was certainly a fun and exciting experience.
Good. And Connie, let's talk about the food. You probably taste, a lot of foods that are specialties of Taiwan in the past. But how about on this trip? Have you seen anything or tasted anything that was different? Or new to you?
Definitely. I kind of don't even know where to start because there's so many.
Okay.
Well, we've gone to a lot of different night markets, and every night market has its specialties and all the different places. And like, for example, at Penghu, we tasted lots of seafood for like 2 days.
Naturally, yes.
So it was pretty different because usually when I come back to Taiwan, I only taste like the food in Taichung. And so this time I've been able to taste all these different special products from everywhere around the island.
And certainly that, since on the trip, you've been to different places, you've met different people, you've also had the, maybe the first time experience of tasting some foods. So altogether, how these experiences, when you put them together, how does, give it to you as an embodiment of the Taiwan culture? How is it that makes you, having a new angle and a new exposure of the Taiwanese culture for the first time? Start off with Chris.
Wow, that's a big question.
Well, take your time.
I think the fact that jumps out to me immediately is just the richness of the culture and the richness of the people and the things they do here. I think my exposure before have been much more limited and much more superficial.
Of course.
And it's been wonderful to see the diversity and the rich history of Taiwan and its people.
Certainly something that we've been talking about in Taiwan in the last few years is about Taiwan's soft power. In terms of the cultural creativity and in terms of some of the competitive edges that we have. And certainly in the area of, culture, we talk about foods, we talk about, the arts, for example, contemporary music, artists like Jolin Cai, and also Jay Zhou, very popular in Taiwan, in mainland China, also parts of Asia. And how does that all together, the music, the movies you sing, the foods you taste, and the different kinds of local customs that you were exposed to for the first time, how does that all together, change your original perception, of the island? Tiffany?
I mean, every time we try new food or hear a new singer, you can look at it shallowly and just say you like the singer or think the food is delicious. But I think one thing we did this time was we took every experience and looked at it at a deeper level. Like last night we had a dinner and it was a traditional Hakanese dinner. So while we could have just maybe before eaten a Hakanese dinner and just thought it was delicious, this time we had a history behind it. They told us little stories about Hakanese culture, and that just really helps open up a view into Taiwanese culture instead of just a shallow look for food.
And we know that the camp will be over at the end of July, and shortly thereafter that most of you are going to go home, back to the States and get ready for school. And also, Chris, I know you got to move to a new place as you start your medical school. And how would you then, share the experiences that you had in Taiwan this time with your friends and family? What would be some of the places or the kinds of things that you did that you recommend, to your friends in college or at graduate school or to your families? Chris?
So I think I would start by showing them the many, many pictures I've taken.
Yes.
And I'm obviously a Taiwanese American and very proud of it.
Yes.
And I would tell them about my time here in my home country.
Yes.
And tell them about the many delicious things there is to eat and the wonderful culture and the place to be, and tell them they'll come visit me.
Okay. All right. And Connie, how would you tell your friends about your experiences in Taiwan this time?
Well, usually I tell them like, oh, the food's amazing, lots of places to shop. But this time I think it's definitely going to be more than food, and it's probably just, we saw a lot of different arts places and like different cultures of Taiwan, not just, there's a lot of different peoples here. So I think that's what I would tell my friends about, like there's so much richness in this Taiwan culture. So they should like visit and go around the island and see for themselves. Anything
or any place in particular that you would make a recommendation for?
I agree with Chris on the Taroko National Park, and also I really like Penghu, because usually when people come to Taiwan, they probably don't really think of Penghu like the island off of Taiwan, so I think that's pretty important too.
All right. And I think one other purpose for the camp is very important for you to establish a network of relationship with all the participants from different parts of the world. And is that relationship in the process of being formed? People exchanging emails and things? And how would you, in the future, like to stay connected with all the friends that you made on this trip? Tiffany?
These relationships are definitely being formed. I know it was only the third day at camp when I was trying to remember how long we've been there, and it felt like weeks. When you spend every hour of a day with the same people, you really get to know them and get to know their tastes. And because we had the activity of bonding together in Taiwan, I think that really helped. And so it's just good to have such a network. It's not even a network in America, it's a global network.
Of course.
And we share that common Taiwanese ancestry, so I think it's a really strong bond we have.
Okay. And Connie, do you share the same sentiments?
Yes, definitely. The first few days, everyone still didn't really know each other, and like now it's almost the end of the camp, and I definitely feel like I've gotten to know so many people, and this camp is a good size, like 28 people, so everyone's a nice, cozy, small group. So I definitely will keep in touch with a lot of people.
For the remainder of this part of the program, Chris, I'm going to ask you. I know that other than the scheduled activities that you have, visiting different places and people and tasting different foods, what do you do after the camp activities overnight? It's okay, mom and dad is not watching and things. You go out sometimes, like local, some places like local youth. They go to and they enjoy the music, the nice thing. Was that something pretty much you expected before coming over?
It wasn't something I expected actually, especially because I didn't know a lot of young people in Taiwan. Again, the Taiwanese people I knew in Taipei were really like my relatives and sort of older people. So it was really, really fun to sort of be with my peers, people around my own age, and go out and experience what Taipei and Taiwan is like for the younger crowd. And it was we definitely had some good times together.
Good. I certainly enjoyed talking to these, three very outstanding youth from the United States and share with us their experiences in the 2-week camp for Cultural and Heritage Week, with the Overseas Compatriots Affairs Commission. We're going to take a short break on our program. We'll be right back to Taiwan Outlook, and we'll continue the conversation with these 3 participants from the OCAC Cultural and Heritage Camp just recently held in Taiwan. I'll see you a little bit.